Hey beekeepers, and those of you who hope to be beekeepers soon, welcome back to the Hive Doctor. Today I'm in this yard checking some splits I made a while back to make sure that they're queen right. What that means is I'm going through and making sure that they have a laying queen, because these 3 colonies here had to raise their own. And I'm going to do something a little unusual in today's video. Normally I already have a how-to or an issue in mind to walk you through, but today I haven't been in these hives, so I want everything here to kind of be as much of a surprise to me as it is to you, so that you can see it a little bit more real time, in that if I have any issues, you'll see how I face them on the spot. So stick around. So we're going to go through these 3 colonies. I'm going to start on this end, and one of the first things to do to kind of tell how well a colony is doing is you can kind of judge the activity at the hive entrances and compare it to if you've got some already queen right colonies in the yard. And I do. Right now there's not a lot of activity at any of the hive entrances. They all pretty much look the same. Those look a little bit different, but that's just because they've got higher populations. But at least there's bees coming and going from each of these boxes. That doesn't mean that they're queen right, but it is a sign that they're not dead. So let's get into this one. The first thing I want you to notice is all the bees are in this area. So I made a 4-frame split. 2 frames of food, 2 frames of brood. And then I filled in the outsides with frames for them to grow into, primarily of drawn out comb. Well, they're not much bigger, and they shouldn't be, because they haven't had a laying queen. So that's not a surprise, but they're not smaller, and that's good, because usually a colony that hasn't, or excuse me, a split that hasn't done well will diminish kind of rapidly as the bees die or perhaps join the split or colony next door. All right, so we just started checking. I didn't find a laying queen. She could be in there eluding me. Their attitude is confusing me. They have characteristics of a queen right colony, and they have characteristics of a queenless colony. So right now we just kind of have to keep our options open. So what that means is I could give them a frame of brood to try again to raise a queen. That means I'm going to have to find it in one of my other colonies here, or combine them with a queen right colony. I've got to make sure it's a strong one. Combining 2 weak colonies is never a good idea. You just get one bigger weak colony. So that's what we've got going on with this. Let's go ahead and move to the next hive, keeping in mind what's going on with this one, just in case we can help it. And I want to keep this cover on them because it's a pretty hot day. This is going to help them not stress out so much, and it's not going to overheat the bees. Getting into the second colony here, popping the hive cover. Oh wow, what a difference. There are bees on a lot more frames in this colony compared to this one. And I made these splits the same day and the same size, but from 2 different colonies, of course. This one's clearly doing better, and I'm going to tell you right off, just looking down in here, they've got capped honey, they've got whitened comb where they're fixing some of the old comb. That's the signs of a queen right colony. It's just a matter of finding her. And I'll bet you she's already laying. Okay, so into the second one, I'm going to remove the outside frame. Not much on that. Slide my Varroa control frame to the outside, giving myself room to work. Got a nice heavy frame of honey here and pollen. Anticipate the brood nest soon. They usually put the pollen or bee bread right up against their brood. This is an empty frame that I just manipulated in there not long ago. This one, oh yes, that's exactly what we're looking for. This is eggs, young larvae, swimming in really good colored royal jelly, worker jelly, whatever you want to call it. I'll show you what this looks like up close so you know what to look for. All right, so I'm going to blow these bees out of the way a little. And with the sun over our shoulder here, hopefully we can get the sun down in there so that you can see the glisten of that milky white jelly that the larvae are swimming in. have no idea how this will end up showing on camera in the end, but it's laid very well on both sides of this frame. So we've in fact verified that we do have a queen, a laying queen, and she's doing great. This is impressive. So today's goal was just to find or verify that we've got a laying queen. I have verified that. I don't need to put my eyes on her. I see by the quality of her pattern, her laying pattern, that she is a good queen. A proven queen takes about 3 weeks of consistent laying to make sure that she is proven to be a good laying queen. It means that she mated well. So we're going to go ahead and shut these up and also talk about our options just like we did with the first one. Making sure she's not on the hive cover. She's not. Okay, so we just checked out the second split. They were beautiful, much larger in population, and you can see a difference from the first one with just a few frames of bees to this next one that had virtually 9 frames of bees. At least there was that many frames being worked on, whether it was putting away nectar, some pollen, making bee bread. That queen is at work laying. Now, what are our options with this? One, leave them alone. They're doing just fine. We've verified a laying queen. We don't need to go any further. You might be asking yourself, could I take brood from them and give to this one for them to raise a queen from? And yes, I could, but I don't like to do that from my splits because my goal with my splits is to grow them. And if I do that, I will be stunting their growth. It's a possibility. If I only had 2 hives, I would probably do it. If I only had 3 hives and that third option didn't give me anything, I would still probably do it and try to keep my hives of equal strength. But I've got 3 other established colonies in this yard, and I've got one more split on the other side of these 3 that I accidentally pulled the queen with. That one might actually be a really good candidate to Robin Hood some brood from and give to this first one. And so we're going to be checking that one last, just for that purpose, because I told you, I haven't been in this yard today. I didn't know what I was going to face, and I'm facing everything and problem solving pretty much on the spot live with you, although not like really live. It's not like a live video, but you got what I'm saying. All right, let's go ahead and look at the third split that I know is queenless and see if they've got a laying queen. I remember making this split. These bees were a little irritable, and I hope that their attitude has changed and they were just having a bad day. All right, so automatically, here's what your mind ideally should be doing when you're doing your beekeeping thing. You open up several hives like we have here today, and your brain should be comparing. Right now, I'm looking down to see how many frames of bees I've got, what the comb looks like, is it being whitened, are there less bees than last time I was here? And this hive is kind of a little bit further along than the first one, but not as far along as the second one with the laying queen. I'm going to say they're pretty much in the middle. I'm going to take out a frame. That's an old one. That needs to be culled. Slide this one to give us some room to work. Now we're on a frame with bees. Let's see what they're doing. No queen right off. I see where they're putting away incoming nectar. I see a little bit of pollen, bee bread that they're packing away. Usually that's an indicator of a brood frame coming up. Let's see if that's what we've got. All right. In fact, my first thing I see, little tiny eggs. I see one cell with 2 eggs. Hopefully that's not like a problem. It's the only one I see with multiple eggs in it, and getting in it, that's only 2. Maybe the queen was just kind of getting overzealous. In this case, I do want to make sure I put eyes on her to verify I don't have a laying worker issue. And this brood, this queen, or whoever's laying, started a little bit after that last hive that we did, because only one of those eggs had already hatched and turned into larvae. And that other colony, they had a ton of larvae, so they started first. Okay, this one's got younger larvae on this frame, so that means the queen started on this frame before she started on the other one. Plenty of larvae and eggs on this side. Okay, and there's our beautiful queen. She's a nice golden one. Right there, about center screen. So we do not have a laying worker. We probably just have a queen full of eggs. And she got really excited on laying that 1 or 2 eggs in the same cell. So she's going across my drone comb on my Varroa control frame. She can lay unfertilized eggs at will to create drones. And you always want to be careful when putting the frame back that you don't put it back when she's crawling across the bottom bar. You could squish her down below if they've built bridge comb up, and you don't want that. Wait till she gets on a part of the comb that is safe and secure, and just be patient with her until she gets to a spot like that. I keep having to chase her back and forth. Okay, she's in a safe spot now. I'm gonna put this in, slide it too, and again, we just verified that we have a laying queen. Now between these three, if these are the only ones in this yard, I would not take from this one to help the first one, but I would take from that last one we just saw and take some brood from them to give to that other one that does not appear to have a queen. Now another thing that this does for us is that first one, I'm going to go ahead and call the shot that it's queenless, even if she's in there and just hasn't got to laying yet. And the reason is because compared to these other two, that colony should have a laying queen already. They're definitely going to mate at different times, but they should all be mating within a certain reasonable amount of time and begin laying virtually almost at the same time. And these other colonies have been laying for days. That one is not. And I could leave them alone in hope that they do have a queen in there, but hope isn't going to make my bees happy. It's not going to make them thrive, and it's definitely not going to make them have a queen. So this is where becoming a beekeeper comes in, where we've got to let the bees do their thing, but interfere, or what's a better word? I'm going to say kind of like interact when necessary. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead and give them some resources to help them along where otherwise they wouldn't have been able to do for themselves. So we're going to be doing that with that queen right split that I made, in hopes that they got some brood that they can share with this other one. All right, here we go. Final one. I know this has a queen. It's just a matter of whether they have enough to share. And I'm going to say no, because there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 frames of bees, which is exactly how many we had when I split them, which is concerning to me, because we've got a colony over there that was queenless and has already got a laying queen faster than a colony. They're growing faster is what I'm trying to say. So let's investigate and see what's going on here. We've got some capped brood on this frame. There should be eggs in this, but there are not. Okay, we've got a spotty brood pattern. We've got eggs. We have eggs laid kind of not quite center. And we also have some slumped yellowish larvae. The problem here is likely that this has got European foul brood, because I know that the yard I split this from had it in it as well. And though I have treated that yard, and since doing so, my colonies that had that European foul brood look better, this one didn't get quite as much treatment. So that's my fault. Not that there's any blame. I'm just saying I should have picked up the ball knowing where I got this split from and been on these just as much as I was the other one. So here's what we're going to do. I've got the stuff in my car. I'm going to dust them and hope that they can get back on their feet sooner rather than later. But they definitely won't be donating anything today. Okay, so we've been through those 4 initial splits. One didn't look so hot. 2 of them were queen right, though one was ahead of the other, totally normal. And the one that was queen right needed some extra help. So they weren't actually able to help me with the first colony. So you never know what you're going to find till you get in there and find out, obviously. So that leaves it to me going into these 3 established colonies that have been here all year to find a frame of brood to give to that first one so that they can make a queen, or just simply combining it with one of the queen right colonies. If we were going to combine it, I would definitely not want to combine it with the one to my left here that has European foul brood, because then you're just spreading it further. Although it is contained in one hive, you're still infecting other bees that could be added to another healthier hive. So I think today, just because it's hot outside, I don't want to dig down into any of these colonies down to the deep at the bottom. I'm going to just combine it today and show you how I'm going to do that and explain why I'm going to combine it with the colony that I'm choosing to combine it with. All right, just to recap, this first colony is the one that needs help. It needs some brood to make a queen, or we're going to combine it. We've chosen to combine it. This one looks amazing. They're growing well. They have a great queen. This is something that I would definitely want to split when the time comes because of the genetics that they've got going on. This one, also a laying queen, but somewhat smaller than this one. So I'm going to pop this hive cover, and just to slow down the introduction process between these two colonies, I'm going to use a queen excluder. I know the books say to use the newspaper method. I've never needed to do that. Bees get along much better than what we give them credit for, especially when one group is queenless. Hive cover off, excluder on, and remember, this is just to slow down the introduction process till everyone gets used to the same pheromone from the one queen. All right, and I'm going to pop this box loose from its bottom board. I can keep its hive cover on, don't even need to take that off. Move them right over here, place right on top, and I'm done. Now it's just up to them to do what bees do. Now, with this equipment here on the end, I've got a few bees left on the bottom board. I'll just do a quick check to make sure there isn't not in fact a queen. I'm going to smash this beetle with my finger. That felt great. And I'm going to bounce these bees just onto the ground. Boom. And they will fly up and join either the colony here or sniff out their other sisters and brothers here. So now I've got a bottom board and a hive cover freed up for when I make another split. This would be something to take home and store, but this is the time you want to do it to kind of help remain an organized beekeeper, and so that things are not out and exposed to the weather more than they really need to be, and they last longer for you. Okay, so that's pretty much it here today. We've done quite a bit. We've helped one hive by combining it with another, helping the one we combined it with by increasing their population and resources. We didn't dig into these three, thereby helping ourselves not have to sweat more in the sun. And we checked out that this queen right hive needed some help as well. So it'll be up to me to continue to come back and give them the doses of that antibiotic and the DFM for their gut health so that they can overcome that European foul brood, just like the yard that they came from when I originally split. If you've got any questions about any of the many things that we did here today, let me know in the comments below. Hope you enjoyed kind of being on the spot with me and seeing how I think and work through problems as I understand them with the beekeeping knowledge I have. You guys can do the same thing. You can do this at any level of knowledge, and it actually will boost your knowledge because you'll find out whether what you did works or if it didn't work. And so you're always tweaking and advancing and getting better and better. So remember, you guys are awesome beekeepers, better than you realize. Drop me one of these, tell your other friends about the Hive Doctor, and I'll see you in the next video.